Guys, I'm Jocelyn. I did my book presentation on How to Stop Feeling Like Shit by Andrea Owen. Have you ever caught yourself, just apologizing for no reason or saying yes when you really just want to say no? Or maybe you're lying in bed at 3 in the morning trying to go to sleep, but you're replaying every mistake that you've ever made in your head. If so, you're not alone because Andrea Owen calls these everyday habits that quietly make us feel like shit. So today I'm going to share like some of the lessons that I've learned from this book. It is a guide that exposes unhealthy habits that many of us tend to fall into, and more importantly, how to break them. So today I'm going to cover why we fall into these habits, the most common habits that she identifies, and then what we can do to potentially change them. Okay, so first, why do we fall into these habits? So Andrea Owen goes into how underneath almost every unhelpful behavior, there's a core belief that you're not enough. Maybe not smart enough, you don't feel productive enough, you don't feel attractive enough. And it pushes us into protect ourselves, but they actually end up hurting us. So these habits, they kind of start early, and the more we repeat them, the more automatic they become, and the more we think about them constantly throughout the day or throughout our life. Once she lays that foundation, then she introduces us to the 14 habits that show up in our daily lives. So, the most common habits that make us feel like shit, I'm going to highlight several of the most relatable ones personally to me. Um, Number one, people pleasing. This is saying yes only to avoid disappointing others. The only problem is that it creates stress, resentment, and sometimes we often feel overlooked by it. But the author teaches us that boundaries aren't selfish, they're actually healthy. This is something I'm currently working on for myself in my therapy appointments, and it has been a game changer. And I'm so thankful for this opportunity. The second one is perfectionism. It's not about high standards, it's more about the fear of feeling judged or shamed. And it keeps us frozen, and we are afraid to try or excel at anything. Also, something that I have struggled with myself, and I'm working on getting rid of these habits. Third one is catastrophizing, and this is the habit of imagining the absolute worst possible case scenario. It just fuels anxiety and makes the fear bigger than it really is. Sometimes a lot of us do this, especially maybe even in this class, thinking, "Oh my God, there's no way I can get up in front of a group of people and talk about a certain subject." And look at all of us made it through. Go us. Okay, so number four is comparison. Comparing ourselves to others, especially online, with the trend of social media, and the way we see things on the internet, it just creates a cycle of jealousy, and maybe we also feel a little bit inadequate. The author reminds us that people often post their like highlights of their life and not their real life, the struggles that they go through. We don't want to post anything negative about us. We only want people to see the positive. Another one I resonated with was numbing, and we all numb in different ways, whether that's like doom scrolling on social media or the internet, snacking, drinking alcohol, or other ways to numb. And this just avoids discomfort instead of working to resolve it. Negative self talk, Owen calls this the inner mean girl. And that actually makes so much sense because when we're talking to ourselves in a negative way, telling ourselves we're not attractive enough, not smart enough, not successful enough, that is like your inner mean girl. If you wouldn't say it to somebody else, you really shouldn't say it to yourself. Another one is over apologizing, and many people do apologize simply for just existing. And the author really encouraged us to replace that automatic sorry with a more clear and confident language. Not asking for help. I struggle hardly with this one because I feel like I can do it all. And sometimes I can't. This habit stems from the belief that we need to that needing help makes us weak. The author actually flips that idea and says that asking for help is actually a sign of strength and emotional maturity. And I actually do agree with that. As I've learned and worked through that, I do see how asking for help can be beneficial and actually is a sign of strength. So knowing these habits is important, but the real value is learning how to change them. And that's where she goes into that, how to break the habits. So she offers practical strategies, and these three I found are the most effective. The first one she goes into is building awareness. You can't change what you don't notice. So by just recognizing what you're doing and recognizing the habits, you can catch yourself people pleasing or catastrophizing or anything like that. And you can decide, okay, no, that's not what we're doing. And we can move on in another way. Another one is practicing self compassion. And so instead of beating ourselves up and constantly talking negative to ourselves, especially for our mistakes, you talk to yourself the way you talk to a friend. If you wouldn't say it to a friend, then don't say it to yourself. This just reduces shame and builds your confidence. The third one is setting boundaries and communicating honestly. So, learning to say no without apologizing. Like, it is okay to say no. Asking for help without feeling guilty, or being honest with yourself or others, even when it's not comfortable. That's where the growth really starts. So, in this book, she does reveal how common habits like people pleasing, perfectionism, comparisons, negative self talk, how they slowly chip away at our happiness and our overall confidence. But once we become aware of these issues and we can practice self compassion and build those healthy boundaries, we can break all these patterns. It doesn't happen overnight. Just realize that it doesn't happen overnight and it does take time. And self awareness is the first start to that, the first stepping stone. Her message is really simple. You're not stuck and you're not broken. You're literally just human, and it is okay to feel all of these things. But with the right tools, you can stop feeling like shit and start feeling like yourself again. Thank you.